Hello everyone, Neve here, and we are here for my magical month of June. All right, so I have my spiritual journals in front of me here, along with my daily planner as well. So, let me pull some of these to the side, and I think we're gonna start with my nightly tarot journal. So, yeah. Let me find where we started here. I think it was, oh, found it. All right, here we go. So the first week here, I did the Goblins and Gardens, and with the Radiant Sun. So let me pull those out. Now I have them right over here. Yeah, I as always, I love the bag that I made for the Goblins Gardens. It's just super cool. We got all the garden imagery here with the embroidery that I put on here with the dragon. I don't know, it's really cool. Really fit with the theme of Goblins Gardens. Now the bag for the Radiant Sun, this is actually just a generic bag I've had. I cannot speak today. What is up with my speaking? A generic bag I've had for probably like 10 to 15 years. I can't even put a number on it. And I didn't make it for any deck in particular. It was just a bag that I had, and I needed one for this deck, and so it's got Kali on it. So obviously that has nothing to do with what's what's here, but it's kind of been its home. So yeah, there we go. All right, let me pull this out. Okay, I just laid this here, but I remembered as I was putting this together that I actually had a different setup for this combination. Instead of doing the card in the middle, the oracle card in the middle, and then 2 tarot on either side, I actually pulled 3 cards for each position, like this, and then pulled a card for each of these positions here. So let me do something like this. Here we go. And get in frame here. So I basically used the Oracle of the Radiant Sun as spread positions, and this combination was really nice. But I mean, most decks tend to go pretty well with this deck, because it's so simple, and it's very like kind of esoteric, kind of sort of ancient knowledge feeling to me. I'm trying to find other words besides esoteric, because I use that term like a lot to describe these kinds of decks, and I feel like there's a better word, and it just hasn't quite come to me yet. So like something with ancient knowledge, or with just I am not like thinking of the word or some sort of description of these kinds of decks. So if there's a better word that obviously is just not coming to mind for me right now, let me know down below. It almost feels very alchemical. Yeah, so I really love Oracle of the Radiant Sun. It's just I haven't quite found a use for it yet in my collection, but it is a really, really cool deck. Now I did like doing it like this, and I mostly paid attention to what the keyword on the cards to represent the spread positions. So this was actually a really cool combination, and I did find that there were a lot of matching colors. So and I liked the combination of the very kind of simple artwork of the Radiant Sun there. Is it focused? I cannot tell. And with the really chaotic sort of collage style of the Goblins and Gardens. And it's funny, the Goblins and Gardens is one of my only collage decks that are like this, because I'm actually not a big fan of a lot of collage style decks. And it's because they tend to be really, really busy. That said, like I love MJ Cullinane's decks, and those are collage, but they're very different than what we think of when we think of collage. And this is definitely collagey. You know, it makes me think of, you know, like the Voyager Tarot, or the Ritual Tarot, or the Lioness Tarot, gosh, or Oracle, or whatever. Yeah, so it makes me think of those, and most of those are not my style at all. Like, I look at images of that, and I just get super overwhelmed. It's just a lot of, there's a lot going on, and that could be really good, but for someone like me, I think it just sort of overwhelms my brain a little bit. And that said, I am more of a maximalist kind of person than a minimalist, but I guess it's just that particular style. I don't know. There's something about it where that collage style doesn't it doesn't click with me. It really overwhelms my brain, and it's too much for me. Now, the Goblins and Gardens, because there's such a distinct theme to this, it is Dungeons and Dragons imagery mixed with garden imagery, and it's odd, but at the same time, because there's something kind of cohesive about it, there's something about this that I like a lot more. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I did like this combination. I did like using Oracle of the Radiant Sun as spread positions. But this is a deck that I'm gonna have to do more study with, and I say that like with a lot of decks. There's decks that are just, they need a study, and there's a lot of astrology involved in these ones, and yeah, and astrology has been something that I've been trying to do a sort of study on. Like, I have my astrology videos that I've been doing every month, but they're very makeshift. There's not a lot of information in there. It's kind of just me trudging along and given very surface level information, and there's something that I want to do deeper, and I feel like this deck is really conducive to that. It's just, I don't quite know where to begin with it, and I keep trying to watch various videos on this deck, trying to get some ideas, but and sometimes it's like, okay, I could try that, but I don't know. So right for this week, I just used them as spread positions, and for my nightly reader, and I did like that. I did like that, and these decks go together very, very well. All right, so that was the first week. Okay, so the next week was just one deck. It was just the Gourmet Tarot. Now this page, it's really busy, and that's because I had accidentally decorated the blank page that I didn't do like a couple months ago. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I accidentally decorated that one blank week that I didn't do. And once I realized that I did that, I was so angry. So then I decided to redo it. I've just found it. But I kind of forgot I forgot which markers I used, and it turned out the markers that I used here were much darker than the original ones, and so because of that, it's much harder to see this. And this was what it was supposed to look like, and I basically did exactly that. It's just I didn't. I used a darker marker in the cross-hatching area here to mimic the picnic basket of the deck. Yeah, I meant to do this, but I used a darker marker, and I was also trying to experiment with a different, because I only use one marker with this, and it wasn't really measured or anything. I just cross-hatched all the way across to mimic that picnic basket. So I wanted to try to use a couple different colors for this one, but I forgot which color I was using here, and yeah, so anyway, this is the actual page. It's kind of hard to see the writing in here, but that's okay. And I really only used the Gourmet Tarot, another bag that I absolutely love. This is, I love the picnic basket look here, and the embroidery I put here, and then the background embroidery, which is all sort of kitchen utensils and stuff, kitchen items. Yeah, I love this. Okay, so here we are, Gourmet Tarot. What an amazing deck. I'm just going to lay them down like this. Yeah, so lately, this year I've been trying to do a mix of tarot and oracle for my nightly readers. But this week, I don't know, it just... I was in the mood to use the Gourmet Tarot, and I was in the mood to not use anything else. So I just used the Gourmet Tarot for this week, and I did 4 out of the 7 days from that week. And yeah, of course, I enjoyed using this. Ooh, this is very summery. This is a very summery feeling deck to me, even though there's some cards that are very wintry, like the candy canes. That's obviously very wintry, but most of the deck feels summery to me, though. So I don't know. I do like it. I don't think I was as drawn this week to this deck. I think I just wasn't as drawn to very many decks this week that I use this. So this was kind of just a safe fallback sort of thing where I'm not feeling very drawn to very many decks right now. This one sort of jumped out at me, and I was like, yeah, let's do the Gourmet Tarot. I love that card, the King of Wands. It's probably my favorite card in this deck. Yeah, so of course I enjoyed it, but I think this week I was just like not feeling it, and which has nothing to do with this deck. This is a really great deck. It's really smart. Yeah, I love it. It's just sometimes we have those weeks, and this might be the week that I forgot to do my moon reading, because I actually have a blank page, my first one, blank page in the spiritual journal. So I'll get to that. All right, so this week I did the Gourmet Tarot, and I like that I used my my pizza washi tape on this. This is probably the only washi tape I have that actually has food on it. So I tend to use this washi tape whenever I use the Gourmet Tarot, even though I'm not even sure that there's any pizza in this deck. But anyway, all right. So the next week, all right, so I actually wrote this down incorrect. It was the Zelda Tarot with the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. I actually wrote down Wild Unknown Archetypes Oracle, but I remembered when I was pulling out the decks that it was the Animal Spirit. I don't know why I put archetypes, but it was the Animal Spirit, so I will pull those out right now. All right, so we have the Zelda Tarot and the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. I almost said archetypes again. I don't know why, but yeah. All right, so love the Zelda deck and the bag. It's a really cool deck. I think I had chosen this one for one of the prompts of a tarot tag that I did, and it was like a deck crush or something like that. Yeah, something like that. And I picked the Zelda Tarot because it's just a cool deck, and it goes really well with pretty much any of the Wild Unknown decks. So obviously this week I used the Animal Spirit, but when I filled out my thing to list what decks I used, I was like, oh, it was one of the Kim Kranz ones. It was totally the Archetypes one, and of course it was not. And that's it's because like pretty much all of their decks look great with the Zelda Tarot. So let me pull off a chunk. Yeah, I mean, obviously the colors go really, really well. I like this. Let's see. Ooh. I have the decks here right side up, so I was fiddling trying to put them down. All right. Yeah, I mean, I like this deck because it is very simple. I don't really care for the guidebook. I did a full deep dive of this deck like a couple years ago. That's on my channel, and I don't know. I think my videos are a little bit better now, for one, and two, and even though I still stumble over my words a lot, I think I'm a little bit better at conveying what my thoughts are, a little bit. Yeah, I found when I did my deep dive of this deck that I really connected with the cards themselves. I connected with the imagery, the art, the elemental symbols on there, all of that, but like I really did not like the write-ups on this deck in the book. It just did not click for me at all. So I think I'm going to do a second deep dive of this deck where I kind of just come up with my own interpretations of each of these cards. But like ultimately, I enjoyed this combination. Yeah. And I do like the spirit cards in here. I like I don't know. There's something about them that they make sense to me. The cosmic egg. Yeah, that makes sense to me somehow. There's something I really enjoy about the animal spirit deck. And obviously it looks fantastic with the Zelda Tarot. Yeah, but I do think I am going to have to do a second like deep dive of this deck. And instead of paying attention to what's in the book, completely disregarding the book, I'm going to completely disregard the book and come up with my own interpretations of what these cards represent to me. And I think that's the way to go. All right, so that was that week. Okay, so the final week in this month was this one, and I did the Rain Shadow Tarot with the Illuminated Earth Oracle, so obviously those are meant to go together, and I enjoyed this, I think. Yeah, I did 4 out of the 7 days. All right, so they are right here. They don't have bags yet. I think I'm going to wait until I get the Faceted Garden. And then I'll start working on creating matching bags for these decks. I did buy some fabric like a couple months ago for these, but I'm still kind of figuring out what exactly I want to do with it, because one of the fabric I got, I ordered online, which tends to be where I get most of my items. And one of the fabric that I got was I thought it was like a teal canvas, but it was more like outdoor fabric, and yeah, it kind of had this like stiff coating on it, and honestly I did not like it, so I'm kind of frustrated with that. I have like a yard of it though. I'm gonna use it. I just don't know what I'm gonna use it for. So I may have to buy new fabric, is what I'm trying to say, I think. This combination, I actually really enjoyed this. Obviously, these cards go very, very well together because they're meant to. I mean, these are done by the same creators. I think it's Claire Mack, yes. Claire Mack created these decks, and of course there's also the Faceted Garden, which I don't have, but it's on my list. I am planning on getting it. I love this kind of deck that I'm finding that I'm really enjoying Oracle decks that have a title and maybe some other sort of element going with it. Like there's symbols at the top of these, and I forget what they mean, honestly, because I pay less attention to that, but I was recording that, what the symbols were in here. It's kind of something I'm gonna have to read through, but these kind of keywords are really, really good. Destruction, connection, water, retreat. These are really, really great keywords. And I found that I really, really enjoy this style. And of course it looks fantastic with the Rain Shadow Tarot here. Yeah, I also like, I found that I also really like Oracle cards that have a title that's not a keyword, like, you know, like a proper noun or something, like sea serpent or elephant or whatever like that. Or yeah, something like versus say memory or concealed, etc. I like both, but I'm finding I'm really enjoying just a simple keyword or title, and kind of letting because when it's a title, like sea serpent or whatever, then, you know, that kind of opens up some intuition, and there's some work that I've got to do there, you know, and depending on what kind of reading I'm doing, that can be really beneficial to my reading, versus a deck like this, which is I also really enjoy. It's not really a title, it's more of a keyword. So there's an idea that we're seeing here, erosion, and then connecting with the sun and the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, so happiness is being eroded. Yeah, because Five of Pentacles having to do with that sort of destitute or poverty kind of feeling, a loss or lack is probably a better word, because loss I think is yeah, anyway. Yeah, so like I do enjoy that because it's more of an idea that we're seeing on the card, but it, you know, compared to decks that are just a title, where it's not really giving you an idea per se, like it's more of like, this is the thing, and you use your intuition to decide what that thing means. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, but I've actually been enjoying that a lot lately. But I do also really like this style where it's just one keyword. I found that I'm really disliking decks that have a lot on them. Now I have exceptions to that. There are a couple decks that I have that I actually really enjoy that are wordy. But I found that a lot of the decks that have, like, especially if it's like an affirmation, I really don't like that. It kind of bugs me, and in fact almost makes me angry depending on the deck. You know, I'm looking at you, Cowgirls and Aliens. I love the titles, I love the imagery. I hate the little affirmations under each, like on each card. Ugh. Anyway, but yeah, so this sort of style I've really enjoyed. It's simple, but it gets the idea across, and I'm able to connect it with the cards around it. Yeah, I have really been enjoying these kinds of decks. Okay, so moving on to the spiritual journal. Let me go to the monthly page here. So Mehev, that is June, Mehev. All of the titles of the months I have in Irish in my book here. So January is Anar, Fiaura is February, Marta is March, Bran is April, Biotna is May, and Mehev is June. I've not really been using the calendar pages here. I've really just put the basic astrological information, when the 4 moon phases occur and what sign they're in, if there's a Sabbat or an Esbat, or not Esbat, a Sabbat or, a Sabbat going on, and when the sun enters a sign. That's all I've been adding. Like, I want to do more with it, or I want to record more information. I just don't, like, and I've been wanting to do that for the last couple years, but I just kind of forget about the monthly pages. So yeah, anyway, in I think August is when I'm doing my next tarot trimester, going over any sort of changes and stuff, or going over my practice basically, and anything I want to change or keep the same, etc. And I'm going to have that video, the next tarot trimester, I think it's in August, and I think I'm going to talk about what planners, what I might change for my planners for 2026. So yeah, anyway, so that's the monthly page. I never ended up putting anything in this section. I decorated it, and I was prepared for whatever to paste in, and I never pasted anything in. So let me go to the moon readings here. Let's see. All right, so here we are. So this was for the first quarter moon in Virgo, and I pretty much just used the Capybara Tarot. Now I do have another card right here that's from a different deck. This is from the Moon Oracle, but I specifically pulled out this card. I'm not sure if you can see what it says because it is a picture of a picture here, but it's the first quarter waxing Earth moon. Yeah. Because it was the first quarter moon in Virgo. Yeah, first quarter moon in Virgo. So I pulled out the first quarter Earth moon. Yeah, so it was a pulled out card for that. But for the deck itself, I used the Capybara Tarot because it was very fun, sweet and cute and fun, and I liked it. And this was for the first quarter moon in Virgo. So let me pull this out. So yeah, this is obviously a very, very cute deck. Yeah. There's not much to say about it because it's just kind of cute. It's an RWS clone, but it does sort of go its own way a little bit here and there. Like, it's not a straight up clone. Just a straight up RWS with capybaras in place of the people. I mean, this one's pretty, RWS, but like some of them are a little bit different. Like, they're not in a church here. They're outside and they're building little houses and doing. They've all got their own little tasks going on, but they're all working together. It's a very cohesive, team there. So the meanings are the same, but I like that the imagery is a little bit different. It's not so RWS clone-ish, but it is an RWS clone. So yeah, I enjoy it. There's not much to say. I liked it for the first quarter moon. Yeah, so Capybara Tarot. This is one of those decks that, what can I say about it? It's cute. Oh, look at that. I love that. It's sweet. Makes me think of my kid because, capybaras used to be her favorite animal when she was little. She did a report on capybaras in school. So makes me think of her. Look at this devil. That's adorable. Like, the cards are just adorable. This is just one of those, makes me smile cute decks. And it's not even one of, because a lot of cutesy decks are like, secretly really tough, like, or call you out and stuff, and I have not experienced that with this. This is just cute. It's just cutesy. And here's the extra card, the carrot. I have kept that in. It's very hit or miss if I keep in extra cards for tarot decks. It depends on what they are. Like, I kept in the extra card for the gourmet tarot, because that one was the fortune cookie, and this one is the carrot, and I've kept that one in. But then other decks, I'm very adamantly, like, against that. So, like, I don't know. It's very hit or miss with whether I'll keep in the extra card. But yeah, for this one I kept it in. So, and I kind of read it kind of like it's the Ace of Pentacles, because it almost seems like a duplicate Ace of Pentacles, at least to me. And I'm kind of coming up with my own meaning on it because there was no, oh, here it is, finally. I couldn't find it. There was no guidebook entry for the carrot. And I don't think there's one for the fortune cookie in the gourmet tarot either. So I guess you kind of come up with your own sort of interpretation. But to me, these two cards seem like they're kind of about the same thing. But maybe a slight difference. Who knows? All right, so that was the first quarter moon. And I used the Capybara, or the Capybara Tarot. Oh, I also forgot to mention that I did this reading with Sita Devi, one of the, I actually have her card over here because, right after I record this video, I'm going to be doing my pulling cards, pulling my, my Lakshmi Oracle cards with my, my Lenormand cards, the mystery cards. I do those once a month, and like 5 people watch those, and just like 5 people watch this, like these monthly recap videos. I don't think I'm a very good YouTuber, honestly. I just, there's something that's not, I don't really grab people's attention, I think, and my videos don't seem to be picked up on the algorithm, or I don't know, or I'm also not a very good speaker, and yet I continue to record myself speaking, but anyway, so I did this with the first quarter moon with Sita Devi. So the next, okay, not the next one. The one after that is the one that I actually skipped. All right, so we'll do the next one. Okay, so the next one is very different. All right, so I actually did some geomancy with this one, and I will pull out the decks that I used for this. It was not tarot, so I used... this has been my main playing card deck for divination, and it is Into the Wild Black Bear playing cards. And it's just a deck that I got at a trading post, and it was very cute, and I liked that each of the cards had images on it. Now they are repeating. Like all of the queens look like this, all of the sevens look like this, all of the tens look like this, etc. So I mean, here's another queens to show here. See, all the queens look the same, which I actually don't mind at all, especially with this kind of deck with playing cards. I expect a sort of uniformity, and the images themselves are not really meant to add to the meaning of the cards. It's really it's pips, it's the pips that are important. See, here are two jacks, they're the same image, but I mean, you could read into it. Yeah, but anyway, I actually really like this because it's different imagery on each card, or I mean, it's imagery on each card, and it's not just pips with a decorative back. That's amazing. Like, I don't like, as far as playing card divination decks go, I want there to be images on the cards themselves. I want there to be something unique about the cards, not just typical playing card images, not just the pips. Except if the pips themselves are there's something special with them or different than a normal playing card deck. When it comes to my playing cards for divination, I like there to be something that sort of separates it from a deck that I would use playing cards. Yeah, I hope that made sense. Anyway, so this has really been my preferred deck lately, this bear deck. I've just really enjoyed it. And what I was doing for this reading, hold on, let me grab. Here we go. This was the mat that I used. Now, this is a mat that I made myself, and I showcased this mat along with another mat that I made in my latest tarot bags and cloth video, going over all the latest bags that I made. Now, this is a new thing that I'm starting to do. I'm going to make more mats like this, and they're tarot mats or altar cloths. In fact, I've actually I was just moved this to be at my ancestor altar because it's ancestor focused like this. So I've kind of enjoyed that. But I made them two-sided so that you got a very decorative one side, which you could use as an altar cloth, and the other side is more neutral, and it's just the fabric that is quilted. There's some quilt pattern in the background, and it's actually skulls, but it's hard to see on this particular fabric. But yeah, I really enjoy how this one came out. But I think I laid this in this direction here. And so what I did, since I mentioned that I did geomancy for this, and I'm very new to geomancy. This was the reading for the full moon in Sagittarius, and I happened to do a spell on the full moon, and I did a reading post spell, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do it on, and also this was with the one of the deities, Jagannath, from the mystery cards here, but since I had just done a spell, I think my focus was, what do I need to do now that I've cast the spell to ensure its success? And to me, it was a very logical thing to ask, but I don't know if that sounds like a logical thing to other people, but like, I've cast the spell, and yes, I could forget about it, but like, is there anything I can do mundane wise to add to, its success? To me, that's a normal thing to ask. But when I consulted other people about the results of my reading, because I am very new to geomancy, there was a lot of people that were sort of confused as to why I would ask that, or why I would want to know what to do about if I've already cast a spell, then I've already cast a spell. But like, I guess my approach to magic is a little bit different in, yes, I cast a spell and sort of, for the most part, forget about it. But like, I also want to, like, let me see if I can come up with an example. So, like, if I'm doing a spell to get a promotion, right? In a job or whatever. And yeah, I cast a spell, but then I do like literally nothing different, or I don't put in any extra effort or whatever. Like, you know, the universe helps those who help themselves, you know? So to me, I would put in a little bit, like part of the spell is psychological, that I'm putting in more effort, right? And sometimes spells are a little bit psychological like that, and sometimes they're a bit, more magic-y, I guess. But anyway, so my question was, what could I do to ensure the success of the spell? And to answer this question, I pulled the four mothers for geomancy. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one of the YouTube channels that I've been watching to try to understand not geomancy, but more playing card divination. It was Anna Cortez. Now, she has her own system, and I don't exactly agree with her interpretations of the cards, but I do love her layouts and the way, like, spreads, I guess, the way she uses the cards. And that I really like and connected with. And she does a lot of this like waterfall style reading, and I've really been drawn to that with playing cards specifically. And then with geomancy, I pull the four mothers like that. And obviously this is just an example. I'm leaving the center alone here because I had an oracle deck that I also used with this. So this is obviously an example, but here were the four mothers that, like, an example of four mothers that I pulled. And then I would record, and I would go just on numbers for the binary. So even numbers are, what was it? Even numbers were let me double check. Okay, yes. Even numbers were 2 dots, and odd numbers are 1 dot for the geomantic figure. And so 4 would be 2 dots. This would be 1, 2, 1. And I don't have the geomantic figures memorized at this point, so I wouldn't know what that is. But yeah, I'm still learning. So 2, 1. I believe this queen is 2 because I think it's 12. Yeah, jacks are 11, queens are 12. Yes. And then 2. Yeah, etc. So I would have the four mothers there, and then I would be able to lay a shield, right? And my intention was to lay the shield to get the answer to my question, and then if I had time or whatever, go in and look at the four waterfalls of cards that I picked for that came up for these readings, because I could read into that. So it's an added level of information, and that's kind of where I was going with that. But it didn't quite work. Like, I got the answer. I ended up getting populace as the judge, and which basically just means, because it's all inactive. The 2 dots are inactive, and the 1 dot is active. And I got populace, which was all inactive. And so the answer to my question, what can I do to ensure the success of my spell, was not much. There's not much else I can do. It's out of my hands now. And that does answer the question. But, like, if I was so inclined, I could look at the image of the cards that I actually pulled, and then further read into that, because each of the mothers pertain to a certain concept. Yeah, I'm talking a long time about this. Anyway, so yeah, but like, I never ended up doing that, and I'm still sort of learning how I interpret the cards for playing card. So I kind of just decided to leave it at what my question was, which was, what can I do to ensure the success of my spell? And the answer was nothing. So anyway, I also pulled an oracle card from one of my Japanese decks. This is the Kumachi Oracle Love Letter, or it's the Kumachiori Kururura Burake, I think. Yes, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was called in Japanese. But anyway, this is a cute little deck. It's very, very thin cardstock. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna pull down a random card for this. But I pulled a card for that, and the interpretation down at the bottom meant there's a lot of information. And that actually made sense with the reading that I got. Interpreting the geomantic figure for each of the spots. There was one in one spot that basically indicated that there's a lot of people involved in this, and then I pulled the card from here that said there's a lot of information. So it just, I am saying that to say that it pulled everything together. So while I didn't quite fully understand what I was doing for the geomantic reading, the whole reading in and of itself made sense. Okay, so anyway, that I spent way too long talking about that, but that was the reading that I did. The next one is the one that I skipped. I did not do the third quarter moon reading this month, and it's the only one out of all of the moon readings that I did not do. When I've done I've had a couple of these where I was late by a day, where I didn't quite do it on the new moon or the full moon or whatever. But this one, I was like, oh, I'll do it the next day, and then I didn't, and it just, life happens, and I decided to just be okay with that, and that I missed one. I missed one of the moon readings. So anyway, the last moon reading that I did was the new moon in Cancer, and of course, as I've been keeping up with this year, it was with on Mórrígan, and because I skipped the previous moon reading, I did it with on Mórrígan and Durga. So Durga was Durga Devi was the last one. So I combined, I basically brought her in it. I had it in this and had it off to the side, and so she was there for the reading. But yeah, so it was primarily with on Mórrígan. And interesting thing though, I don't often combine deities like that with readings or with rituals and stuff, because it depends on the deities, but some deities don't mix well together, and so I kind of, if I'm going to do something like that where I'm doing a reading with on Mórrígan, but I'm adding in say Durga from Hindu Hindu pantheon. I mean, obviously those are two very different pantheons. That said, on Mórrígan and Durga are pretty similar in energy, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll play well together, So when I do something like that, I kind of play it by my intuition, and I sort of a channeled message or feeling, and I felt that on Mórrígan had no problem with it, but she has had issues with other deities that I was potentially going to work with together. So it really depends, and I won't list off those other deities because there's other people who have maybe worked with both of on Mórrígan and that deity together and had no problem whatsoever, and that's fine. But it's basically my intuition and a sort of channeled message from on Morrigan on whether she's okay sharing this reading with a different deity. So anyway, I went very Morrigan with this, and I used my Urban Crow oracle, which I absolutely love. It's probably one of my favorite oracles. So I did. I'll just lay down a mock reading here. So I laid down a card from the Urban Crow. And then I have the Crow Tarot, which this is specifically dedicated to on Morrigan. This, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how I did this. So this card was the first card I laid down. It kind of dictated the theme of the reading. So this one, for instance, is teamwork. The card that I got was risk. But anyway, and then I would pull two of the Crow Tarot, and this deck is specifically dedicated to Anna Morrigan. And this is like, what do I need to know about this? So my wording on this was, what do I need to know about risk? Because risk was the card that I pulled. So my wording on this would change slightly. What do I need to know about teamwork? I would pull Knight of Swords and Two of Wands. Okay. And I would have a reading based on that. So, and I had it going like this because it's mimicking birds in flight. That was the idea. That's the bird in flight. So this is the theme for this month. What do I need to know about that? These two cards are read together. There's not separate readings for this. And then I pulled out the Morrigan Oracle cards. So like I said, this was very Morrigan-y. Oh gosh, I just dropped this. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's cool. So I have the Morrigan Oracle, which I almost never use. And I'm really sad about that because I want to use this deck. It's just, I've had difficulties like figuring out how I want to read it. But I think I figured out this line of cards here that I actually quite like. Now, because I was trying to figure out if I want to use this like spread positions, which is one way that I use this deck, or use other decks that are like this that have just a title or an idea or whatever on it. So the spear, land, betrayal, destruction, the queen. Yeah. Anyway. So like I could use them like spread positions, maybe, but it was like I was having trouble just figuring out what these cards meant to me, because there is a little print off, like some basic interpretations for some of the cards. They don't put all of the cards on here, but Tricky Cards cheat sheet, because the creator, Morpheus Ravenna, a lot of the cards, if they say like fear or something, that's pretty self-explanatory. There's really no need to put a meaning on that. But they have cards on here like, let's say, the Queen, authority, sovereignty won through struggle, Macha's queenship. That's suggested interpretations of that card. Or let's say the Hag, a voice of warning or danger, the Morrigan or Bive in hag form. So it's interesting to have those things. Or doom, the most negative outcome, or fate, the Bive. So I actually didn't consult this when I did this reading, but I kind of just used my intuition, and I really feel like that's the main thing with this deck. It's very intuitive. Like it's a deck that you got to use your intuition for. And I really quite like it. It's just I hadn't quite figured out how I wanted to use it. So I've been watching. Oh my gosh! I think the channel is just. I cannot remember the name of her channel. So if I remember in editing, I'll put it up on the screen, but it's basically a young woman who channels messages from on Mórrígan, and she very good channel, and I love her messages, and she does a really good job, and I believe completely that she is definitely in communication with on Mórrígan, and yeah, anyway, so sometimes if I feel called to, I will watch her pick a card Mórrígan readings, and maybe someday I'll do something like that too, I don't know, but anyway, and she did a layout with this deck where it was just 5 cards. Like, let me just lay down 5 cards. And she did a reading based on that, and I just kind of liked the 5 cards. You know, like, and so when I did my reading here, I was like, you know, I think I want to do a reading with 5 cards. Because one of the ways that I kind of use decks like this is more cartomantic style or tableau style, reading like a tableau. So this would be tableau style. This would not be tableau style because they're off center. A tableau style to me is in a grid format. And cards that are read tableau style, they feed off of each other and they are in a grid. I hope that makes sense. But and I liked that idea with this, but it wasn't quite working. So what I decided to do is not do tableau style and bring this down like this, and I can't quite see, but let me see if I can zoom this way. So now it sort of mimics this, and this looks like a bird in flight. And then I had a different sort of idea with this. So my this right here was straight up the message from this month's message from on Mórrígan. And I found I had a really easy time reading this. So the focus was the center card. I'm not sure if this is in frame. The thing that holds my tripod that holds the camera has a line, like the thing that holds my camera is right here. So I can't see anything like in this area here. So I cannot tell if this is in frame or not because it's right in the center. But yeah, so this card is illusion. So that would basically be the center focus, the here and now, what's going on right now. These cards would be the past, these cards would be the future, and also near past, far past, near future, far future, something like that. And I just kind of read it like that. Okay, I just pulled out the exact cards that I had pulled for my reading, just because it's going to be easier to explain this. So the center card was the focus, and adventure was what I got here. So this was the layout I got, and I laid it like this, from left to right. So first card I got was blessings, then fear, then adventure, the guide, and the queen. And I will read exactly what I wrote. I am exploring a new path, but I fear that I may make mistakes. I have a guide that has blessed this path before me. I just have to take on a burden, and that had to do with some of the cards up here, to take a risk. That was the main card that was here. And then experience true blessings and rewards from the queen. So yeah, that was how I interpreted that message. And so basically these 2 cards have the most influence on the here and now. These have more distant influence, but still there. This is more past, this is more future. This is what led to this, and this is the direction it's going. And I really loved this reading and the way I read this. It just worked perfectly. And then I closed it off by pulling a few OM staves and to represent land, sea, and sky. So yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this layout, and I am probably going to do this type of reading, especially with the Mórrígan Oracle again. So probably you'll probably see it again next month for the next new moon reading. All right. Okay, so the final reading I'll go over was for the one of the Sabbats. Of course, here's the Sabbat section: Imbolc, Ostara, Bieltana, And this was the summer solstice. So I actually didn't write anything in here yet. I have the reading here printed off, and I will go through and write in here. But I did this actually on camera, and I did my summer solstice video, which I like 10 people have seen that. Like it's got like 10 views on it. So help a girl out if you can, and please go watch some of my videos, so that the algorithm will at least pick up my videos and share them for people to see. But anyway, so I did the summer solstice ritual. We went whale watching, which was fantastic, and that was the main thing that we did. And I shared my reading for the most part. Like I was kind of intending it to be private, but it ended up being mostly public. So I did that, and I used the Grimalkin's Curious Cats tarot, because the summer solstice I connect with the Irish goddess, the Irish fairy queen Anya, and that's who I normally honor on the summer solstice. Now, and this is the deck I primarily use with Anya. I'm just going to go flip through it and then kind of put it away, honestly. Yeah, so I wouldn't say that this is specifically dedicated to Anya. It's just the one that I feel drawn to use with Anya. So, because I can use this for other purposes, but yeah, it's pretty much my Anya deck. It's my summer solstice deck. It's a very summery deck. I'll probably bring it out again in July. Yeah, I really enjoy this deck. It's very sweet. It's very summery feeling to me. The backs feel kind of wintry, and I don't like the gray title. But like, because everything else about this deck, even the darker cards, well, this feels wintry because it's the Five of Pentacles, but that makes sense for that. But but most of the cards feel very, very summery to me. So this is totally a summer deck for me. I love this Emperor. Yeah, I love it. And it works really, really well for the summer solstice and for readings with Anya. Yeah, anyway, so I did that. And I also, I read from, let me grab this, from a book by Morgan Daimler, whose work I highly, highly recommend if you're into Irish paganism specifically. They're a great source for that, for Irish paganism. And, Morgan does just an immense amount of research, and it's just packed full of knowledge on Irish paganism specifically. But they also have a very strong fairy craft, and this is their own sort of system. It does sort of combine a little bit, it does a combination of Irish paganism with kind of traditional witchcraft and a little bit of kind of some Wiccan elements or modern pagan elements. That is definitely something that is part of this. But it's, you can change it to your own liking, of course. This is not a set in stone sort of path. It's very movable, but it's very approachable, and I highly recommend anything by Morgan Daimler. But I used the passage in this book for the summer solstice, and I read it out loud during my ritual. So yeah, so highly recommend that. Anyway, yes. So at this point, I'm going to pick my favorite decks for the month. Oh, and here's the latest decks I've gotten. Let's see, Witch's Tarot Landscapes. I kind of messed up. I started to write Terra Arcanae, but it's Ignis Arcanae, so I'll have to fix that. And I actually just received the Alchemical Tarot, which I will do a video on in the next month, I think. Yeah, I think that's all I've gotten. That's all I put here. And then let's see. I think I'm pretty caught up on Oracle decks. Oracle decks that I've gotten. I can't think of a different one that I've gotten. Let's see. Last month I got the Ignis Arcanae and the Tarot Landscapes. I feel like there's another one that I got. Oh, the Witch's Tarot. Yeah, that was the one. So I got these three. And then I just received that one. So yeah, okay, I'm all caught up on that. I did forget to write in here all the decks I used this month, because I tried to do that. I did not do that yet, so I'm going to have to do that soon. Yeah, so now we are on the tarot tournament. All right, so what was my favorite tarot deck that I used for this month? Let me think for a second. Okay, I think I know. It is going to be the Grimalkin. Yes, I think that is my pick. So I'm going to put that in June right here. So Grimalkin Tarot. I feel good about that. The Grimalkin Tarot was definitely my favorite that I used this month. And then for the Oracle tournament. All right, what was my favorite Oracle? You know what? I think it was the Mórrígan Oracle cards. Yeah, for sure. So basically, it was my favorites for this month were two deity decks. So Mórrígan Oracle cards. All right, so next month we'll be starting up here. So we have January, February, March, April, May, and June, and then July, August, September, October, November, December. All right, so there is the tarot tournament. All right, I think that's everything. Oh, I did briefly want to mention, oh yeah, gosh, I didn't talk about this, but I did do a spread in for my menstrual reading. I'm going to cover the interpretation right here, but I did a Lenormand spread during my menstrual cycle. This is a practice I've been doing, just readings during my menstrual cycle, and they're very personal, very private, so I don't really show the details of that, and I do very minimal decoration in this book. So yeah, I only did one for my menstrual cycle there. And so I will briefly show the YouTube videos that I did for June. Let's see. My Magical Month, open cards. That's typical for the beginnings of these months. So for July, this is going up tomorrow on the 1st of July, and then I will have the mystery cards, which I'm filming right after this. That'll go up on Saturday. So my Magical Month of May, open cards. I did a walkthrough of the Witch's Tarot. I did a video on my latest bags and creations, so please go check that out. It's got hardly any views, even though I thought that one was definitely going to get a lot more, because I'm talking about things that I'm creating, and which tends to be what people actually comment on, is like I usually get comments on bags and stuff. So, and it's funny that videos that I have that are dedicated to that get hardly any views. So I do have a video of my latest bags and the creations of the tarot/altar cloths. That's there too. And I am planning on starting to sell those mats, the tarot/altar cloths. So yeah, please go check that out. I did a walkthrough of the Ignis Arcanae. I did my Cancer zodiac study, my solstice ritual, and then my Rujin Kado study. So that was the month of June. Next month, we have my Magical Month of June. That's this video. Then the next video will be open cards. Then I'm going to do a walkthrough of the tarot landscapes. I'm actually doing a deck declutter, my first one. I will be doing a deck declutter this month. Then I have in pencil here tarot tag, so I'll probably do a tarot tag video or some other video that comes up. Then my Leo study, and then I'm going to do a walkthrough of the Alchemical Tarot, and I also have another tarot tag right here, and then the Rujin Kado study will be the last one for July. All right, so that is everything. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye!